What's up, guys? So the first thing I'm gonna say is, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So this all started back in about 2022, and I was working as an aircraft mechanic, and I've always been trying to find new ways to make money, how you can get a shortcut. And I was at work one day working with one of my coworkers, and he told me about this site that's supposedly making people money. He told me this site that a guy he knew made 15 grand off of, and it was this crypto arbitrage trading site. He told me you can make 2% a day. You can put your money in, you can make 2% every day, because you'll keep putting the money in the system, and it'll keep coming back out, and you do it again. It's just supposedly doing arbitrage trades for you. And I heard him say that the one guy he knew made 15K off of it, and that immediately I was like, oh my gosh, this is easy money. And he said he already put 2K into it, and so I was like, I need to get into this. And I was skeptical, of course. I'm thinking, this sounds pretty good, but he knows a guy that made 15 grand off of it. So I'm like, he knows a guy, so obviously this is working. So I started trying myself. I put like a few $100 into it, and I gave it a try, and I was like trying the system, and it was working. I tested it, withdrew my money, and it worked. I put the money in. You had to buy USDT and then transfer it into the site, and I did that, and I tested it out, a withdrawal of taking the money back out. I'm like, oh, this seems like a legit thing. And at the same time, I was thinking maybe it could be a pyramid scheme, but I was like, maybe I have time to put some money in and get my money back out. So I started thinking of ways, how can I use this to the best of my ability to make the most money I can, and just quickly make 100% in a month and take my money back out. So I started thinking, and then I was like, what if I take out a loan? And sure enough, I started looking at loans, and I could smile about it now, but after the aftermath of it, it was pretty terrible. But I ended up seeing a loan for 20K, and it wasn't the best interest rate either. And I put the money in there, and I start seeing the system working, compounding, seeing the numbers go up. And then first, also I'll say I don't know if any of you guys may have heard of it. I joined a Facebook group on it, and there was a bunch of people who were putting their money into it and telling their experiences with it. So I was on that Facebook group following it, and the site's called cotps.com. That's the site that my coworker told me about. But anyways, back to the 20K. I ended up taking a 20K loan out, and as I was doing it, I was telling myself, this probably isn't a good idea. But the impulse, the risk side of me, I wanted to try it. I wanted to see if it could work. So I ended up doing it. I ended up taking the 20K, and I was nervous, and I did it. I took the 20K, and a few days later, I had 20K in my bank, or like 17K after the fees or whatever. And I ended up putting it into the site, and like I said, I started to watch the numbers go up every day as I kept putting it in, and doing the arbitrage trading. And it wasn't about a week later, after I made me some profits or whatever, that I tried to take some money out. And sure enough, this time the withdrawal didn't work, and I couldn't get my money out. So I started looking at the Facebook group and seeing if anybody's having the same issue, and sure enough, everybody's having the same issue. The rug was pulled. And to be honest, I don't know. That 20K might have been the money they needed, because it wasn't long after I put that 20K in that they shut it all down. And immediately when I saw that it fell, the withdrawal, it was like a hit to the chest. And honestly, that's probably one of the worst experiences of my life. Like, honestly, after that situation, I was crying after that situation because, 20K was a lot of money then for me. And I mean, if I made a decision like that right now, I'll make a little bit more money, so it wouldn't be as bad. But yeah, I ended up crying because, now I got this loan that I got to pay, and I was hoping to make a quick 20K, double my money, and pay them back. Making a bad decision in my early 20s, and it was a risk I took, and a risk that went really bad. I honestly could have put it in Bitcoin. That made that same decision, put it in Bitcoin, and I could have made some money, but nope. I made that stupid decision on a sketchy site that, didn't look right. But yeah, pretty much that's the story of how I lost 20K, and it definitely led me down a bad road, like, because it's like at that time I'm like thinking of how much I gotta work to make that money back. Think about how many hours I gotta work in my job to try to make this money. And yeah, it was a depressing time, because then at that point I'm just thinking what kind of side gigs I can do, and it led me into trading, which I already did investing and trading, but it led me down the leverage route. And when you're trying to make money to pay off debt, you're just gonna make more bad decisions and risk way too much when it comes to the trading, and just keep spiraling you down. And for a while I was just spiraling down more and more, like kept trying to get myself back and just kept trying to shortcut my way there. And eventually I had to come to a certain point where I had to wake up and realize that there is no shortcuts. You gotta work hard in whatever way you can. There is no easy way to make money. But yeah, that's the story of, how I lost 20K to a crypto scam, a crypto pyramid scheme. But if any of you guys have had the experience with this same site, let me know in the comments. If you had a similar experience with a pyramid scheme, crypto pyramid scheme, or whatever, just, let me know your experiences. But I know if you're watching this and you've experienced it, I know you know how it feels. But like I said, if it seems too good to be true, then it probably is.